Question regarding the timeline for FE electrical and computer exam preparation. When it comes to the FE electrical and computer exam preparation, your timeline is a factor of 2 to 3 factors. The first one, the most obvious one, is your starting point. So if you already have been preparing for the exam, or if you're a relatively recent graduate, you've been in touch with academics, then it's obviously easier. In terms of just the timeline, if you are looking for a rough estimation of timeline, the timeline is anywhere between 2 to 4 to 5 months of preparation on average. 2 months obviously for the recent graduates, 4 to 5 months if you've been out of school. The other factor that comes into play when you're preparing for the FE electrical and computer exam is the intensity. By intensity, I don't necessarily mean the amount of sweat that you're breaking, but the amount of hours that you're putting in on a weekly basis. What I tell my students is to put in about 10 to 15 hours in the first few weeks just to warm up and get started, and then start putting in about 15 to 20 hours per week on a weekly basis moving forward. And if you can sustain that while using effective exam preparation resources, it is easier. And the third factor obviously is the resources that you're using. The effective exam preparation resources can help you squeeze that timeline and make sure that amount of hours that you're putting in and the effort that you're putting in is meaningful and it is helping you make progress. So again, a really good question. The timeline is dependent on these 3 factors based on my observation. And I've had students who've prepared for this exam, passed the exam in the first attempt within 3 weeks even. They were able to cruise through the entire course content that I have to offer, use the study guide, and they were essentially doing it sort of like full time. In some cases, I've even had students who actually took time off from work, and in a few cases, even I've had students who actually decided to quit their job. Now, this is an extreme move, but then they had a game plan in place in the sense that they knew that the FE electrical and computer exam preparation or the P-Power exam preparation had been on their minds for a long time. The only real way for them to really dive into it was to sort of knock out these exams back to back and re-enter the job market, or maybe even resume the same position that they had or go back to the same employer, but with the renewed credentials, and that made a lot of difference. So timeline wise, we're looking at anywhere between 2 to 3 to 4, 5 months. And intensity is very important, and effective exam prep resources are super important. And if you're looking for effective exam prep resources, feel free to check out my website, studyforfe.com, for the FE electrical and computer exam prep, as well as the P-Power exam prep. I have highly reviewed courses, the best-selling books on these topics on Amazon, and you can find reviews all over the place on LinkedIn, Reddit, YouTube, success stories, and the whole 9 yards. So if you're committed to preparing for this exam, then take into consideration, all of these factors in order to basically get the job done in the first attempt. I hope that answers the question. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and P-Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and P-Power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, studyforfe.com.